Dragon Ball Super Episode 53 is now officially in the history books as we move on forward to Dragon Ball Super Episode 54, vastly approaching next week. And with that being said, the Inheritors of Saiyan blood are upon us. Now keep in mind guys, this video will contain a massive amounts of spoilers, so in case you guys don't want to know what happens in next week's episode, simply tune off of the video, go watch the episode, come back so we can talk more Dragon Ball Super. Now I will say this, Vegeta training Trunks is such a good idea. Why? Now people might remember when, you know, Vegeta and Trunks were training in preparation for Cell back in Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta wanted nothing to do with future Trunks. Even though Trunks wanted to train with his dad so much, Vegeta was always against the idea of training and helping his son. But now fast forward many years later, the shoe is on the other foot, and now Vegeta becomes a Super Saiyan Blue against Trunks for the very first time, showcasing his Super Saiyan Blue abilities to Trunks for the very first time, because keep in mind, Trunks doesn't really understand what Super Saiyan Blue is, and I'm pretty sure that Vegeta is going to be the one to show him for the very first time. Now, with that being said, do you guys believe that Trunks will indeed inherit the powers of Vegeta, using that in his battle against Black in the future? Because as of right now, we do have an understanding that this is going to build up to a massive battle against Black. And of course, with that, I'm joined by GeeklistTV, and I wanted to ask you, Mr. Geeklist, your overall thoughts on what's going to occur in next week's episode, because again, we do have an understanding that Trunks is going to, you know, behold this transformation for the very first time. So I wanted to know from you, do you believe that Trunks will indeed inherit Vegeta's powers and somewhat learn how to tap into the Super Saiyan Blue ability, thus making him possibly the third person to ever achieve the form? So what are your overall thoughts leading into next week's episode?
What do I expect to see from Trunks and Vegeta? I believe Vegeta's gonna do to Trunks what he did to Kappa.
Right?
Basically. I believe that's gonna happen. Did you notice in the preview, Trunks is bulking up? Are we gonna see Ultra Super Saiyan again?
I don't know about that one, man.
That was weird. You saw that, right? That he was bulking up. His chest was getting bigger. His body was getting bigger.
Maybe from the power-up, but perhaps even towards like the very end when he grabbed him, like when Vegeta grabbed him by like the collar and stuff. Like it was pretty grim. Like as you said, it reminded me of when Vegeta grabbed Kaba. But in terms of like the whole title, Inheritor of Saiyan blood, do you believe that Trunks is going to be the one to inherit Vegeta's powers and possibly be the one to save the day at the very end? Because it's the first time the kid ever saw something along the lines of a Super Saiyan God / Super Saiyan Blue, so I'm pretty sure he's very intrigued by it. Like he's never seen it before. So with that being said, with all the training that he will receive from his dad, do you think that it'll play into effect in terms of his power growing? And do you personally believe that he will be possibly the third person to achieve somewhat of a similar transformation? I mean, having to see firsthand what his dad can do, do you think that even down the road of the story, if Black, you know, manages somehow to defeat everyone, do you think that Trunks is going to retain and inherit that same energy and like that same power to use against Black? Or do you think that this is only momentarily just to show Trunks like what Vegeta's been up to the entire time?
I get your point. I get what you mean by him just kind of showcasing what power he has and like how he obtained it, but there is a possible chance that he could actually obtain SSB just like Goku and Vegeta. We talked about this before, that look what happened to SSJ. How quickly everyone got that. You know what I mean? So look at SSJ 2, you know, mostly everybody has that except for the kids, I believe. So it's like it could happen. It could happen, but the only thing that I've been noticing is they are treating SSB like a very special transformation. They didn't want to showcase it at all during the tournament. They did not want to showcase it at all during the tournament. Goku so far has only used it against Vegeta, and that's because he knows how strong Vegeta is. He wasn't going to go SSJ to fight Copy Vegeta when he knows Copy Vegeta has all of Vegeta's powers, you know?
Isn't there like technically 4 people? I mean, aside from the manga, because he fought Vegeta, he trained with Vegeta using that form, but if you want to look at the entire scope of the form, he used the form against Frieza, Hit, and Copy Vegeta, and that was it. So, do you think that the reason why they're keeping it as such a prestigious form is because it's really hard to obtain? Or do you think that, as you said, little by little, other characters like possibly Trunks or even, you know, I don't want to say Gohan because I don't think it's ever going to happen, but even along the lines of someone like Gohan achieving it down the road and stuff, as you said with the regular Super Saiyan form, as we saw over the years, Vegeta got it, Gohan got it, Goten got it, Trunks got it, everyone had it at some point, even Bardock, who had his own movies. So with this prestigious form, right, what do you think Trunks is going to learn out of this? Because obviously, I mean, we all already know that Super Saiyan Blue is probably far and beyond Black's power, so Trunks would be fighting the strongest person, technically his dad. So what do you think he would learn out of this? Like, do you think like he would indeed get stronger, or do you think it's something, as I said earlier, just momentary, like brief momentarily for Vegeta to get stronger, or at least get some sort of knowledge as to how strong his son is?
It's a little bit of both, but I kind of do think that Vegeta kind of already knows his son's limit, I guess, with the fight with Goku, and with the sparring match with Goku.
Right.
But I don't think it's momentarily. I kind of do believe that Trunks may actually obtain SSB, and he's going to learn a lot from this. I believe we're probably going to see a similar reaction. You know what? I take that back. Isn't there, didn't Herms put out a preview of episode 54, and it was saying that Trunks actually feels like they don't need him around because the power gap is so big? Did you read that?
Oh, of course. I mean, like, do you really blame the kid? He's only a Super Saiyan 2. Like, how far can he really go?
Well, see, it's the thing, like, look how fast Kaba was like, oh shit, okay, master. Like, he was ready to learn that shit, that SSB stuff after he witnessed it.
Yeah, he got knocked out, dude. I mean,
if Trunks doesn't, like, now that I think about it, I'm wondering how this episode's going to be pieced together. Like, if the sparring's going to happen right at the beginning, and then Trunks is going to be like, I can't compete with you guys. You guys just go take care of Black. And then at the end, Vegeta will be, well, I'll train you to get to this level. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder exactly how they're going to piece that together, because if Trunks has this moment of, man, they don't need me. Man, I'm not strong enough. Man, like, how long is that going to last where he's like that? You know what I mean? Like,
well,
is it going to last the whole
and
episode,
obviously enough, it does make you feel like shit because you've been training this entire time, but just to come back and realize that there's a form that you could never reach on your own, that would make you feel like shit too. So, I wanted to ask you about Zamasu. So, even though we didn't really get any clarification as to who he actually was in terms of Black's identity, do you think that after watching episode 53, at least towards the very end when, Zamasu unleashed a little bit of his ki, do you feel as if he is Black or has some sort of relation with him? Or is Zamasu and Black two entirely different characters?
That's tough, man. I do know that they animated, from what I saw, it's hard to watch on stream because it constantly breaks up.
Yeah.
But from what I saw, didn't they animate his ki to look similar to Black's? Right, that purplish?
Yes, it was purplish black, yeah.
So, obviously they have the same ki and the same aura. So that's two, I guess, checks right there.
Dude, everyone, including Beerus. Beerus was pretty much told Whis. He was like, Whis, and Whis was like, yeah, I see. Even Goku, when he was on the ground, he was like, holy shit. Like, but then again, nobody took him serious, even after the fight, because Goku stood up, he was like, all right, man, good fight, and that was it, and they left. And I was like, okay, well,
a quick sparring
you can't really
match,
accuse him because he seems like a nice guy, but what do you think here? Like, what do you think is really going on? Especially with the preview, because we saw how he pretty much, Gowasu and Zamasu looked inside the box again. They opened up the box, and Zamasu seemed to be very intrigued by that. So, what do you think is going on here? Ever since Beerus and Whis and Goku left, now they're back to their old ways. I mean, now that they have an understanding that the trail might be hot, what is going on with the box being opened again?
I was actually telling one of my friends this. I feel like even though this may have been a very short sparring match, I feel like this kind of changed things for Zamasu, because when you noticed, his character was a little bit different after meeting Goku. From the very beginning, he didn't like Goku. He thought he didn't want this mortal touching him. He thought he was kind of outraged that this mortal was hanging out with gods, like Whis and Beerus. But then at the end, he was kind of intrigued, you know what I mean? He kind of like had like a little flashback of him like charging him, and then he was like Son Goku at the end,
That's perfect, because didn't Black do the exact same thing? He went back into the future and he clinched onto his heart, and then he had flashbacks, and that was the exact same thing he said when he fell down. He was like Son Goku, but he had more dialogue. Obviously, he said, I'm going to embed your powers into my body. So, do you think that perhaps Zamasu doesn't have any relation with him, but perhaps maybe Gowasu does? Because we spoke about this off camera. I told you how every single time, because keep in mind, Zamasu was on the defensive. He didn't really attack Goku. Every single time Zamasu was going to attack Goku, the yellow Kaiōshin prevented him from attacking. So why is that? Why do you think he just suddenly kept telling him, no, don't attack? Like what do you think is going on?
It could be that maybe Zamasu is actually stronger than what we saw, and he was just holding back. Because when you look at, like, for the example, the fight with Beerus and Goku on Kaiō-sama's planet, I know the iconic episode 5, but when you remember the dialogue there, they were sort of actually impressed. Like, even like Whis, I believe there's a scene where Whis opened his sushi tray, and when Goku went SS3, he turned it back down. He was just like, oh, he was like, okay, I'm a little interested now. So you can kind of be impressed with someone's power, but still be holding back, because obviously Beerus took out Goku with a chop, you know what I mean? So here they could be impressed that Goku was so strong, but at the same time, Gowasu, I believe is his name, Maybe he just didn't want Zamasu to go all out. You know what I mean? Who knows exactly how strong this guy is? Because when you think about it, when Goku had him on the ground, as soon as Goku powered down, Zamasu powered up quickly, and he like he was about to knock him out or like cheap shot him, and then go outside to tell him no. You know what I mean? So I find, dude, I'm telling you right now, I like this guy Zamasu. I love the voice actor they picked for him. The actual his like attitude, very different from like Kaiō-sama or King Kai. Very different from all the Kaioshins that we've seen. This dude is ready to cheap shot Goku at any given moment, and also when he very first met him, he was ready to backhand Goku. You know what I mean?
And notice how he was gonna chop the shit out of him, very similar to Beerus. I mean, and Goku picked that up like a genius, because the moment like Goku fell down, he looked behind him and he saw Zamasu's chop coming in, and that's when he unleashed the Ki Blast, and then right then and there it revealed his energy for a brief moment, and even the music changed, the overall tone of the show changed. And in next week's preview, we see him kind of like having like somewhat of like a sadistic smile when he sees the rings, and we see how something's going on with those two. Something is definitely going on with those two. Even Herms pointed out that Beerus said we should have destroyed Zamasu before he does whatever he does, and Goku interrupted by saying, well, he doesn't seem like a bad guy, he seems like a very nice guy. So I think that even though it's not Beerus' fight, Beerus already knows. Beerus and Whis probably already know, but since it's not really their fight, they're not going to say nothing, because why would you say something to someone if it's not really your fight? Why would you want to get involved? So I think they're going to allow Goku to make this mistake, because Goku's like, he's dumbfounded. He's like, oh, well, he's a nice guy. But in reality, the gods already probably know, like, all right, we have our proof, but let's see if he can figure it out on his own, because you can't really just deliberately say, oh, it's definitely him without, sustaining proof. So I think Beerus and Whis know, but they're just going to allow to see if Goku can make like the same mistake he did before, and that's being gullible. Now, in terms of power gaps, now, obviously enough, we haven't seen Black in quite some time. We haven't seen him since, I believe, episode 51, I think it was. So now leading into episode 54 and 55, at what point do you believe Black is going to show up, or at least we're going to show up to Black's location, and we're going to throw down? And this time, when our fighters finally throw down, do you think Black's going to have the upper hand now that he understands what Super Saiyan 2 is like and what it's like to retain his memory and his powers and stuff? Do you think the outcome is going to be different, or do you think it's going to be the same? Because we already know about this whole Super Saiyan Pink thing going on, so I wanted to know from you at least, what are your overall thoughts on Super Saiyan Pink?
Well, to answer your first questions, I believe it's going to be a while, because Bulma still has to fix the time machine, Trunks still has to train with Vegeta, and then from the episode preview of 54, not the preview, the breakdown that Herms did on his Twitter, I believe he says that Zamasu and them, or the Universe 10 Kaiōshin, they go to like the future, right, or something like that. So yes, we're going to get some... So we're going to get like a lot of stuff happening before they go. So it might be a few episodes, maybe even more, before we actually see them go to the future to fight Black. And do I think Black's going to be a threat this time? Probably, because I didn't know this. At first, I thought Black... Well, he does seem to actually get stronger after he fights someone. But at my first impression of watching the Raw episode, on episode 50, was that he was getting stronger throughout the fight. But after watching the subs, he actually does state that he's not going all out. So he was holding back when the fight very first started.
Exactly. I didn't know that. And that's the exact same impression that we had with Zamasu, because keep in mind, man, I'm reading the comments. People are like, oh, Zamasu's a shit character. He never even touched Goku, so what are people talking about? Like, he never really actually went on the offensive. Now, he's labeled as an apprentice. He's labeled as a very ingenious fighter. And that could be because he was able to deflect Super Saiyan 2 Goku very easy, by the way. Even though he never really threw hands with Goku like that, it doesn't label him as a weak fighter. He was going to hit Goku, but then the yellow Kaiōshin stopped him. And you have to ask yourself, like, why would you stop him? Is it because Zamasu's too strong for his own good, perhaps? Or maybe Goku can't handle it? We don't know. I mean, we'll probably never know. But any final thoughts leading into, next week's episode with Trunks, Vegeta, them possibly going into the future? What do you think is going to happen? And do you think that even if Zamasu and his yellow Kaiōshin apprentice aren't really enemies, do you think that those two are going to help our heroes, or are they going to stay neutral here?
To answer the SS Pink stuff, I don't care for it. I'll just end it at that. I don't care for it. But to go into the last question, I'm kind of expecting to see a lot of Vegeta and Trunks bonding. Like, I really want to see that. We didn't really get to see too much of that, other than just like flashbacks of them in the Room of Spirit and Time and stuff like that. We didn't really get to see full-on affection until after Trunks died by Cell. So to see maybe like Vegeta actually like kind of just play an actual father figure, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like a real father figure during the training instead of just being an asshole. I think that would be kind of cool. And to answer the whole Gowasu Zamasu stuff, if they're actually gonna help, who knows? I could see some stuff happening like that. Like it ends on a good note where maybe Zamasu kind of figures out that not all mortals are bad and not all living beings are bad. So maybe he helps out. But the thing is, like, I don't know, man, because he was getting ready to cheap shot Goku after Goku put him on the ground, bro. He seems to have like a very different attitude, very sour attitude, if you will, against most of the other, against like the other Kaioshins. You know what I mean? Who are mostly like laughing and humorous, like the Elder Kai and Kaiō. You know?
I still think this dude's bad. I'm sorry. Like I really, he doesn't like humans. He doesn't like anybody.
I see him being more bad than actually him changing his ways and helping. Like at the end, you know what I mean? I actually see him being more bad than that. It could happen though. I mean, you know, DB always swears us with shit. You know.
Well,
so.
I mean, I again, like just based on his demeanor, he just seems like such a grudgeful
like a
kind
bad
of person,
right? Like he seems like an actual ultimate heel. You know what I mean?
No, he does. Like he really does. Like he really does. But comment down below and let us know, guys. Do you guys think Zamasu is more along the lines of a good person, a bad person? Is he going to help our heroes? Are they going to stay neutral? Obviously enough, when you're being challenged by mortals, he kind of felt a certain way about the whole situation. So comment down below and let us know. Thank you guys for watching once again. If you guys are Dragon Ball fans, don't forget to subscribe for more daily content. Also, check out and subscribe to GeeklistTV. The link will be down in the description below, guys. Subscribe to his channel before he goes into Universe 10, because there's no way we can actually get him to come back unless, of course, he has any rings that we don't know about. But make sure you guys subscribe to him as well. Thank you guys for watching once again. Tune in for the next video, and we'll be seeing you all later. Take it easy, guys. Peace.